What's up, banana bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Junglejims podcast. What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Junglejims podcast. This is a very special episode this week. I'm over here hanging out in the grab-and-go section in the deli because Lou and everybody brought us some really fun stuff recently. This is from Pizza Italiana. I was holding it funny. This is their margarita pizza, but we got a whole bunch of other ones in grab-and-go. It's new to us. If you haven't tried it, these are really good. But the reason I'm over here talking about these is because if you don't want to come in and get one of these pizzas, you can join me at Trophy Pizza this coming weekend for their grand opening and help me win by buying the slice that I made in the episode you're about to watch. So we saw that these pizzas came in, and I was like, hey, I got a great idea. We got to do a pizza episode. And thankfully, my pal Zach at Trophy goes, hey, we got to do a pizza episode. So what happens when the universe collides like that? We make a great episode. So today, we're going over to make some pizza at Trophy Pizza. We're going to interview the owners. It's going to be a great time. And then you're going to come out this weekend to Trophy Pizza in Norwood, the new location for the grand opening, and try the pizza I made in real life. How cool is that? All right, let's go to the show.
Yeah.
Well, here, let's do this since I already introduced myself at some point. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Who wants to go first?
All right.
This is the talker. Yeah. go ahead.
I'm the talker. I'm Jim, and Trophy Pizza is our labor of love, and sometimes the love is hard to come by. But it's happy to have you here tonight.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And
Awesome. And I'm James Moore.
love it. A lot of James happening at the table tonight.
Yep.
Who made the decision as to which one was going to be Jim versus James, or was that predetermined?
Our parents.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. People ask all the time, are you guys brothers? I'm like, yeah, they named him Jim and they named me James.
Yeah, right.
And
And
that's
like,
just,
there's a third brother who's singular, James. You know.
we're like,
What was the passion behind this? Like, where did this come from? Do you guys know each other for a long time? How did this all work out?
We were introduced by a friend. He used to sell pizza stuff to a friend of ours, mutual friend.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Cincinnati during the pandemic, it was like there wasn't any pizza that I used to look at pizza porn all the time,
Sure.
like on my phone looking at.
Send me the link, Jim.
Yeah. Just like
Creme
the
fraiche.
the slices that I missed,
Yeah.
And I just could not find it. And our mutual friend's like, I got somebody you got to meet. And I really kind of pitched James on this idea of like our calling card, despite what's on the table right now, was like, can we make a great plain slice?
no, it was, can we make the best plain slice?
The best plain slice.
Love it.
And I said, yeah, of course we can. Because I grew up here, but my sister lived in Brooklyn for 20-something years. I spent a lot of time there and fell in love with the pizza on the East Coast and New York specifically. And it was like, I'd always come home and I'd go, this says, New York style pizza. And I'd go there and I'd try it and I'd go, it's okay. I love all pizza, but
Right.
it wasn't what I was looking for.
For
It
sure.
wasn't the real deal,
Well, you get those food memories, right? And you have those things that you've experienced. There's like a little nostalgia tied to it. And when you hear, look, Jim, we talked about this off air as New Jersey boys. You hear something like New York style pizza, and then if you're in the Midwest, as I've been for a long time, you'd go to these places and be like, oh, so you've never been to New York? That's crazy. So when you guys opened, you can imagine. Well, you've seen me here a lot.
Customers come in here all the time, and they're like so skeptical. Like they're like, no, I grew up. This lady came in one day, an older woman. She was just like, yeah, like she didn't believe anything.
Right.
She ordered a pie. She's like, oh, we'll see. And like was real standoffish about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it. And I was like, you know what? While you're waiting, let me just throw a plain slice in for you.
Yeah.
You can while you're waiting. You got about 10 minutes here on your pizza, and I threw a slice in there for her, and I sat there and I kind of watched her sit over here and eat it, and I saw her face like brighten, like lighten up, and all of a sudden she became really nice.
Yeah.
And she came over and started talking to me, and I was just like, okay, cool, we're good. She's like, I'll be back, So it was for me, I don't know. The cool thing is when you see people come in here and they just have the smell in the air, and they're like, they know when they come in, they're like, it smells right,
Right. Yeah,
because
for
it
sure.
does, It's that smell of the dough in the air, the deck oven cooking. It's what it should be, and people recognize that a lot. So
So have you worked in the food industry a long time? Because I know we were talking off camera about
Yeah, I mean,
cooking and stuff like that.
I've cooked my whole life. My whole family, like, they all cook. My father was a great cook. My mom's a great cook. I have 4 sisters. They all love to cook.
Yeah.
You know, so. But I worked in the food industry for a long, since I was pretty much 15.
Oh,
so,
sure. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
What time? How about you, Jim?
No.
Always smiling. I love it. I love when that happens. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
No, I just always loved restaurants. You know, from the time I was young, my parents, my one birthday present was to go to a great restaurant.
Yeah.
And because I was like 6, 7, 8, they always took me back to the kitchen, and I always had, you know, like a connection to restaurants in that way, but I was going in a totally different path. I think at some point in my late 20s, I was like, what am I doing?
Right.
And I needed to be in that industry, but went towards the bar because it was like, I had no experience. Like, unlike James, I had no experience, and bar is like easier not to fail at.
Sure.
And then we eventually added food and had great food, great bar food. But, you know, one of the guys who worked for us who has a lot of kitchen experience was like, you know, you're like, you've got a good instinct, you know, basically, which was like, you're not an expert, but you make it work, man.
Yeah.
Which, like that was a compliment. I'm definitely not
Absolutely.
a kitchen guy, but,
Cool.
you know, I love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's interchangeable because, you know, I've watched Jim, like, kind of mature in this pizza game. Like, look at
Yeah.
this pizza right here. That he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
making, and it's, you know.
Crazy.
And
He brought in his own secret ingredients tonight.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, you can come from the bar and use that same, you know, mindset to go into the kitchen. Yeah, I mean, because, you know, it's really all, you know, combining flavors and
Right.
things like that. And so you can tell he's got experience.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
And
And you pick those little things up along the way, right? Where you're like, and also I think a little bit of it is probably a key is experimentation, right? Or at least being open-minded to try things.
but I've never
the
been a bar.
natto kimchi
I've never been a
pizza.
bartender
You
in my
gotta
life.
fail.
I've never been a bartender in my life.
Yeah.
But I make some badass cocktails.
I was gonna say, I'll drink
that
to
was
that.
all right, but I'm just saying.
I'm
like,
having a
you
good
know.
time. I'm enjoying myself. Okay, wait. Should we maybe talk about the pies that we're eating on tonight so far?
Sure.
Wow.
Jim, what'd you
They're
just take a
going.
bite of? Why don't you talk to me about that one?
Well, this is James.
Oh, wait, that was James's. That's right.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
James's pie.
James,
but
tell me that. Walk me through that pie, and then you can review it. Maybe that's the way. to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just came about. Like most of the pizzas I make, I just kind of make them. Like
Right.
it's not like I got a pre-thought. It's just like I kind of want to change that pizza. Let me just throw something together.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and I feel like it works. You know, it's our new.
Okay, this is the Jungle Gyms exclusive.
Yeah, this is the new take on our peppery pig, and it's you know, an olive oil base, you know, with our dough and ricotta cheese. It's got a lot going on. Ricotta cheese, fresh mozzarella, our whole milk shredded mozzarella, bacon, peppered salami,
Oh yeah.
caramelized onions, fresh garlic, and of course the baby arugula cooked on top.
Give it that little peppery note. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, and I think we might add a little pink peppercorn to it. We'll see.
Oh, I like that that's coming out. Give the right kind, like I think you were saying, a little color, a little pop in it.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I can confirm it's delicious. What are your take on it, Jim?
I love it. You know,
What would you
we
do
s-
different? Anything?
nothing. Actually, nothing. We had talked about capicola at the beginning, and I think the first time I tried it was capicola.
I had
but-
capicola and I took the prosciutto and actually cooked the prosciutto on there. But we started talking, and I think I want to eliminate the prosciutto from the restaurant. Like
Sure.
We're only using it on very few things. Can we make it work without
Yeah.
prosciutto? And I think it does.
Yeah, this
It lives
pepper
up to its
salami
name.
goes crazy. Yeah, it's awesome. And you had that made somewhat, not locally, but like Columbus, right?
Yeah, Izzo Sausage Company does a salami, and it's delicious.
This goes crazy. That's delicious. I feel like this might be a good time for us to lean into maybe a more controversial part of this as we move on to the next slice, right? Because Jim took a wild swing tonight, and I'm honestly, I've been jealous the whole time. I mean that in the sweetest way possible. Walk me through what you've made
Well, I was kind of like
as I eat it, by the
I
way.
was kind of like pineapples verboten on pizza.
Yeah,
Right.
I love it.
And it's been a controversy from the jump because my son is like a Hawaiian pizza, you know, devotee.
Sure.
And so we had to carry pizza from day one.
Yeah.
And
Remember, I didn't even want to bring pineapples.
You didn't
in.
want to bring
I was like, no,
pineapples
no,
in.
no, 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 no,
Right,
no, no.
that's
And I was
It's
like,
not
we have to.
not available.
We have to.
Not
we
on
have
the menu.
The things you do as a parent right? So I was like, can we make a pizza that is really tasty with pineapple? And I've always been thinking about this, like just cooking a pineapple down so it's not as watery, like 'cause that kills the bake, right? All that water,
right?
And just caramelizing it, and I just had an inspiration of like the al pastor taco, which I love, that spiciness with the sweetness of the pineapple. So I took this pineapple, put cumin and lime and jalapeno, a little bit of salt, grilled it up, and the capicola was the easiest kind of replacement for the pork.
Sure.
And pickled red onions and fresh jalapenos.
It's really fresh tasting. I think that's probably got to be like the combination of the pickled onions and the jalapenos really popping in there.
Yeah.
But you did a great thing. Look, I mean, I was joking with you guys before when I was trying to come up with what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, should I go full controversy and go pineapple on here and just like, let's see what happens, right?
Wow.
Because that drives a little excitement. And maybe this is me spending too much time with Jungle. He's like, a little controversy, babe. It's a good time. And I was like, you're right. And then when you brought that up, and I was like, okay, and just trying the pineapple by itself, you masterfully, in my opinion, tempered it in such a cool way that it brings out a lot of the more savory notes from it. Like you said, it obviously reduces the water content dramatically. And here, and this is where my standpoint goes on the pineapple debate in general, which is that it's kind of up to you, like, and it depends on it's like anything else. It's balancing stuff out, right? It's like if you can bring a little of this, like, maybe a little spice, a little whatever to balance the sweetness out, it could play. Am I always going to eat it? Probably not. But I like the way that you did
Once in a while.
I kind of feel like I just want to like eat the pineapple by itself.
The pineapple by itself.
You know
Seriously.
what I mean? Like I don't. Like, I want my pizza and I just want that pineapple. Yeah. It's like,
This flavor combination is like one of my favorites. The cumin, lime, cayenne. Together, it's just like.
I mean, I for real want to try your al pastor now. That's what really.
I don't have one.
I know we got. Well, I heard we're getting the roaster in here, right?
I like crackling with this on it.
Yeah.
The cumin, lime, and.
Oh,
cayenne.
that's a good idea too.
It's
Cool.
really good.
I feel like we should all be hanging out after this way more often, guys. If I had known. Well, I'll go through mine. Then mine was I went grandma style, the filthy grandma. I don't know if that's a real name, but I just named it after my grandma, who's still with us. She's a good time. She's got a mouth on her too. I share a lot in common with her. I went meatballs, ricotta, and caramelized onion as the toppings. And then, of course, you all are masters with the grandma already with the sauce, basil, fresh garlic, all that good stuff. It's the only one I haven't tried yet, actually.
It's delicious.
Is it? Cool.
Oh, man.
It feels like pretty. I wanted to go not too far off the, off base.
I was ricotta traumatized as a kid, but in this kind of incarnation, it's just like I'm searching for that bite,
Yeah, for sure. I get it. And that's I'm glad I added that in there at the end.
You know what's nice to know is
yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. We make our meatballs in house, so people that come to Evendale, they know how good our meatballs are. But
for sure,
we actually put ricotta cheese in our meatballs.
Oh, that's funny. So I doubled down today. Well, whatever. We went half scoop, so we should be okay, right? Oh, that's great. I love
That's
the grandma.
delicious.
It's always like so fun to. Look, one of my favorite things about coming up here is that it does, like you mentioned so well earlier, you get the smell as soon as you get in here. And for me, it hits so many of those nostalgic things, And the first time I ever came in, I was like, okay, slice of cheese, what's up? I'm not going full Dave Portnoy or anything, but I was like, look, you can't hide behind anything that way, right?
No, it's like going to a steakhouse and ordering a burger and being like, if their burger's not good, then I'm not probably sure their steak's going to be very good.
For sure, yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. What's the quality like? Well, let me ask you this. As far as what are like some things that, and I guess this question for both of you, obviously, but what are some things that you think are really crucial to making a quality pie?
It's easy. It starts with the dough. I mean, the dough's got to be right. And for me, it goes dough, sauce, cheese. A lot of places say, especially Cincinnati, the Midwest, it's cheese
right
on everything. But the dough is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's the vessel. It carries whatever you put on it.
Yeah.
And, I think our dough is solid,
Yeah.
Do I think it's the best it could be? No. Because I'm always like, it could be better. But
yeah,
it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, great. Always a great chew, great flavor. And that I always thought was something, and I feel like you and I'll feel each other on this. I feel like when you go back home, there's just something about, I'm assuming it's the shitty water quality. That's what I alwaay tell myself. I was like, you know what I mean? I was
Don't start with the water, man. Don't start with the water. Evendale's got some pretty shitty water.
No. Evendale's water is pretty good. Glendale, on the other hand.
We need that Glendale dough. Oh my gosh. Now, okay, so that sauce. I'm with you on the sauce too. I think you're layering. How do you feel about this, Jim? Are you about the same buddy?
I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons we're here today is because we both feel the same way. We both love the dough.
Yeah, and
The dough aspect of it. If you don't have that right, you're not going to get a good pizza. And we're both sauce guys for sure.
And you guys have that nice tart acidic sauce that I want out of a pizza, right? You know, it's like it's clearly made of tomatoes. It's not sweet. I'm sorry, Cincinnati. It's not sweet.
The thing to me is like, you know, you can get tartar and you can get, if you go to a lower quality, I mean, we actually, our sauce is somewhat sweet because of the tomato we're using.
Interesting.
It's a very sweet, natural sweet tomato.
It's a natural sweetness.
Right.
Like,
But I mean, you know what I mean? And we don't cook it down until it's like concentrated, you know.
Yeah.
It's, you know, a lot of people don't realize it's like, you know, you put tomatoes on a pizza, it's going to cook. So why cook your sauce for hours and hours to get flavor when it's going to cook on the pizza very fast, you know?
Yeah.
So, but you want to keep that bright color. You want to keep that bright tomato zing, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't get that if you cook your sauce down too much, in my opinion.
Okay. No,
I mean, I think that's one of the things. Look, I keep coming back to the grandma. That's what I'm eating right here. Like, all these are interesting, but because that sauce is on top of the grandma, and it doesn't get cooked under the cheese, it's like right there for you.
And you just exactly. Every bite is like another new dream I didn't know I had. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh hell yeah, I forgot.
Exactly.
What I like about this so much is that every time I go back for another bite, I have that feeling of like, oh, I'm looking forward to the next one. And then I'm also doing that thing where I'm like, slow down, Mark. It's gonna go away. You know what I mean? This won't be quite as good hovering over the refrigerator door in a few hours. You know this. We all know the stance. You know, shredded like a goblin. So, your cheese blend I thought was really interesting too, right? Because we're using a really we were talking about the shredded mozz that you were using, right, as well as the fresh.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing too is we shred our cheese in house.
Cool.
And we use a whole milk, a very heavy fat whole milk mozzarella,
right?
Low moisture.
So you get a good melt.
Yeah, very good melt, but with a very rich flavor. I mean, mozzarella is not one of those things that's going to give you that bite that you get from a provolone or cheddar, things like that. But, we don't, the Midwest in general, Cincinnati is a very heavy provolone or blended 50-50 mozzarella provolone blend town, where, traditionally New York is either, a low fat or a whole mozzarella, and that's just another thing that I think makes us different from the rest.
I was gonna say it's like shredding the cheese, like doing it in house. Is that pretty common, or that doesn't seem that common?
I mean, it all depends, but I think I'd say probably 70% of the pizzerias around probably buy their cheese pre-shredded, and there's not many companies that do pre-shredded cheese that don't add other like caking agents, things like that. So, there's something about it. Like even now, still, like when someone's shredding cheese here, I gotta walk by and just take a bite. Something about when it comes
something
right,
about that saltiness.
when it comes right off the shredder, it's just like, man, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
I'd be the biggest piece of shit if I got pizza. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's good. It's good. Hey, you don't need that much on the pie. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jim.
No, I'm remembering like in Brooklyn, like just the local pizzeria that I'd go to with my kids that were it wasn't like on any lists. I don't think Portnoy's been there. And
has he been here
walking in at like 11 o'clock as they open with somebody, it's a tiny little hole in the wall, and there's a guy who looks like Danny Aiello just like shredding cheese, It's like that's it. And the funny thing is I love their Sicilian, I love their plain pie, but that's where my son made me fall in love with bacon chicken ranch pizza. It's like their dough was good, their ingredients were good, and they were shredding like great mozzarella right
so
there.
Even if you take something that's a little unorthodox, you're like, well, it's elevated enough that
for sure.
What is one of the most? Have you guys ever done any particularly wild swings in your opinion as far as like creating a pie? I mean, obviously these tonight I think are probably good examples of that. I feel like there's a lot of traditionalism at the table.
I mean, for me, it's like you can go anywhere with putting stuff on pizza, and you see that in a lot of the menus around. And I just have this thing about like if it's not somewhat classic or traditional or work flavor wise, I don't really even want to do it. I mean, it's not. I'm not trying to appease people by doing something wild and bringing people in. Oh, this guy's got the craziest pizza with this stuff.
Right.
I've never seen that, but it's
the pickle pie is back.
Yeah, it's
Get on the soapbox. I want to hear this, James. You're in a good company. I'm like, listen, I'm just looking for the guest to do it so I can join in.
Right. I mean, it's for me. I like the traditional pizza.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. We have a chicken bacon jalapeno pizza, the loophole, and people love it. And that came about the name.
I love it.
The loophole. Yeah. I mean, even I. But I take it to the next level. I have a salad that I put on top of that pizza.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The salad pizza. Okay, yeah, that's what.
Well, no, it's just the loophole, but then you add, the arugula.
Yeah.
Instead of putting the ranch on the pizza, you do the arugula and you do diced tomatoes and a little red cabbage.
Okay.
And you toss that with the ranch and you put it on top.
Oh, that sounds like
And
a
it
much better way to
changes
do
it
it.
completely. It's almost like a chicken spicy BLT.
Oh, see, that sounds way more palatable to me, to be honest
So
with you.
good.
It's amazing.
Because I hear,
It's amazing.
in my head, I hear chicken bacon ranch, and I don't know why, but it just triggers such a mass-produced goopy. That I just see a creamy goo pile. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not the loophole came about because the name and everything was we were in here just tasting plain cheese pizza, plain pies, and everyone's like, oh, I can't eat any more pizza. I can't eat any more pizza. And I was back there, I just kind of threw it together, and
Sure.
I brought it out, and they're like, well, what's that?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's something else. You guys don't want any more pizza? They were like, well, hold on. I want to try that. And then it was like, okay, well, if you can't eat any more pizza, this is a loophole.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like
genius.
when you,
I love it.
That's how it came about, and
so
it
cool.
stuck, so, it's kind of funny.
It seems like you guys have a lot of fun with the R&D side of that. What's that like? I mean, it's just outside of just grabbing cheese fresh off the shredder.
Well, we
right?
built this place, man. We did all the build out ourselves here.
Oh, no
and
kidding. I had no
yeah,
idea.
the
Okay,
floor. I mean, I was in here sick on the floor laying these tiles in November. I was like, ugh.
Right.
I don't get sick very often, but I was really sick.
Yeah.
And Jim had gone out of town. I was like, I gotta get that floor done before he gets back. I told him I'd do it, and I was so sick, man. And it was just
He also told me to never lay on a floor again.
yeah, I did.
You only need one
It was
time
a
to
bit
find
terrible
out.
experience,
Once
and
is enough,
we
right?
built these booths,
That's
Jim,
so cool.
I still have the
freaky
sketch.
as they are.
Yeah, I still got the sketch pad that he drew up this little drawing of how we're gonna build these, and we did these counters and the whole place, the tile on the wall.
That's beautiful.
You
I
know?
mean, you can tell too. I mean, it's clearly a labor of love. There's the first time I came in, I'm looking at the older stereo equipment, the trophies and everything. And as soon as we walked in, we're like, what a vibe. Sorry to say it like I'm 19. I'm still pretending. But for real though, it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, this captures that, I don't know, that je ne sais quoi, whatever it is, when you walk into a place where you're just like, oh, these guys really give a shit about this product. They love it, high quality. Along those lines, what were some of the big obstacles that you guys ran into and just in the inception process of this? Oh, I like that face. How bad is it, Jim?
I'm trying to think.
Well, my whole thing, I was like, where are we? We're in Evendale.
Right.
I live 5 miles from here.
Yeah.
And when he was telling me about the space that he saw, it was like Evendale. I was like, like Evanston?
And most of the residents don't know either, to be fair.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
Well, I just knew.
Menards. I get my lumber there.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I
Right.
know where that is,
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife found this spot, and it had been sort of built out in this configuration,
Oh, cool.
and was turning hands. It was available,
Yeah.
fairly new, and I knew from my in-laws do live in Glendale.
Yeah.
Water's not very good, but it's a great location.
Right.
And I just knew that this area had a lot of people right around it and
Sure.
a lot of businesses and not a lot in terms of food, pizza.
Sure.
And so I was worried at night. I mean, right now, not many people out there, but
Sure.
I knew lunchtime we were going to be
Kill it, yeah.
cranking. And to me, that's the heart of a New York pizza place. It's like that quick lunch.
Right, come in, grab two-
grab a slice, walk out the door, walk to the next pizza place, get another slice.
Right. Fuel me up to the next stop.
Right. So I had a feeling I was worried too, but that was an obstacle in a way. But once we committed, obviously no turning back. I think, to me, one of the biggest obstacles was that oven.
Oh, yeah.
James found that oven and drove up to Michigan with a truck, liftgate, loaded it on.
Out of a guy's garage who owned an Italian restaurant that had closed.
They
4
have
years
our
prior.
delivery car, an old
Yeah.
red Pantera.
Yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't selling. We didn't have the money to buy, but we got this thing down here, and all the proper equipment that we needed to lift those ovens in place wouldn't fit through that door.
Oh my God.
So
That was fun.
instead of making a couple phone calls, we decided to build cribbing out of 4x4s and with scissor jacks, and it was probably the scariest night of my life. I thought, so I was like,
we got this. You know?
Yeah.
Imagine that, you know, a few $1,000-pound oven up in the air, 4 feet.
Right. You're like
on cribbing that we just put together and stacked. And then it's like, how are we going to get it from here over here?
Right.
And it was just the two of us.
James is just like, push it.
I was like, let's just get behind it. 1, 2, 3, and push as hard. You know, it will carry over. The weight will carry it over there, you know?
And I had been a physics
At the same time,
teacher,
it's
so
cracking.
yeah, I'm sure it'd never crack too. You're like, is this a good idea? Okay, confidence will push us through.
Yeah.
So obstacles, I don't know. You know, the biggest obstacles are like, you know, training people and finding the people who are committed to the product. And
of course.
It takes time. That just like takes time. And but when you find those people, you know, it really is an amazing thing. It adds to you know, it feels like a family when those kinds of people come in.
Yeah.
And want to learn.
We've been lucky.
Pizza.
I mean, we've been really lucky with a really good core of people that have been here for quite a while. My biggest concern was coming out of the pandemic. I kind of knew the state of the industry. It was just like, you know, restaurants were closing down and there was not enough staff. You get anywhere you go, it'd be like, dine-in's closed, like drive-through only.
Right.
Even like, you know, it was just because they couldn't get anybody to work.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest fear going into this was like, man, is anyone going to want to come work for us? You know.
Sure.
And it's still a struggle, and it is every day. But at the same time, we have a very solid core.
Yeah.
Very lucky, and then you know.
And James has been great. Like through all those tough times, he'd come in and just say, you know, we're just making pizza. That was kind of the mantra.
I had to keep that. I had to. And there was no way I was going to do it without that.
Because actually, those are the good times. Like when you're actually back there on the dough table at the oven, like stretching, building, making pizza. Like everything else can kind of disappear.
Sure.
And you know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you get that like tunnel vision, laser focus. And
it's hard to keep that mindset.
Sure.
But when things are tough, you gotta do it, or else. You know, because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you have a pissed off customer, things happen, you know, whatever. It's like, it's just pizza.
Red pops in after hours to get the box. Nice, you know what I mean?
Speaking of the people who come through that door and are like, oh my God, like the smell. There was a woman who came in once and she walked right up to the counter and said to me like, I'm from New York and I hear you got really good pizza. I'm gonna buy a slice, and if I like it, I'll buy a pie. Great, let me know what you think.
Sounds good.
She eats a slice. I'm watching her. She seems pretty happy, but, you know, pensive. And she comes up to me and she says, that dough is amazing, but there's something off about the sauce, and walks out the door.
She never told you what it was?
She never told me what it was.
She didn't know. I bet she didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people that's like, that sausage isn't sliced. That's not New York pizza. Like, all these, like, litmus tests.
It's kind of funny. And it is kind of funny that it's interesting to me that pizza is like this universally enjoyed thing, but I feel like all of us definitely have these kind of parameters in there that you're kind of, like you said, there's like a little litmus test where you're like, well,
yeah.
I don't know.
Funny.
That
it's
is
funny.
No, that's the great thing about pizza is like, it holds a special place for everybody.
Right.
Even if it's not the pizza you like, or the pizza that we like, or the pizza we're talking about right now. Everyone has a special place for pizza. And what that is I mean...
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about the places that are redacted.
But even those places, like, I think, like, that, you know, people have experiences in their life where pizza's present, and you've mentioned nostalgia, right? Like, to me, pizza is nostalgia.
It
like,
really is.
If there's nothing else, it's nostalgia. So, you know, that's why, like, it's almost like topography or climate. It's like where you grew up.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like, that's where you feel at ease in some way.
Yeah.
And you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And when you're with a slice of pizza that brings you to that mindset or something.
I love that.
I think, like, there's nothing like that.
Yeah. It's a weird, like, spread my wings, like I was spreading the dough on the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's connecting to your childhood somewhere in there.
That's
right?
a great point. Yeah, because it was like, pizza parties in school, and like, I felt like that was like, and it was an easy communal food. Very interesting. Yeah, you guys are really selling slices of comfort. Is really what's going on here. For sure. I sell smiles for a living.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the cheesecake yet.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think you just led that one. I want to try. That's like one of those things. As soon as you said it, I was like, I'm intrigued. Maybe a little scared, but I definitely want to try it. Will you talk about that cheesecake?
Well, I'm not talking about the Stilton cheesecake.
Okay.
I'm talking about the trophy cheesecake.
The trophy cheesecake. Yes. Oh my gosh, my friend Cody and his daughter come in here all the time, and Addie, she's a couple years old, right? And she loves that so much to the point that anytime they come to Jungle, it'll come up in topics a lot. He's like, "Thanks for that." So talk to me a little bit about the cheesecake. That's one of the only things I haven't tried here.
It's similar to our plain pie. It was like, let me do a cheesecake that's just real, like, well, in my opinion, the best plain cheesecake,
Okay.
There's lots of different ways to make cheesecake, and, we don't use graham cracker crust, which is a traditional New York thing, but I think people will be pleasantly surprised to find that we don't, because it's better.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
we bake them in our pizza oven, so they have a nice caramelized top, and,
cool.
there's nothing really that special about them, except for the fact that they're just really well done.
What are you using as a crust instead?
It's like,
if I'm allowed to ask that.
It's like an airplane cookie.
Okay. Oh, okay. Heck yeah. That sounds delicious. Yes.
Yeah.
I love airplanes. Boeing cut you a deal on the base this year. It's a good one.
No, honestly, it's Biscoff. You know?
Of course.
And I say airplane. It's funny because I was in, it's hard. We can't find it in bulk. The Biscoff.
Yeah.
And we're lucky to have Walmart right here because they actually carry a big size pack of Biscoff cookies.
I hope Jeff Bezos listens to
honestly,
this podcast.
I hope he doesn't, because I want to hook you guys up with that, because I'm pretty sure I might be your guy for that.
Yeah, and I did see online recently, and I forget where it was. Like, I meant to keep looking back to there's like a Biscoff case of broken Biscoffs.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I'm sure there's all in the factory. Give me the broken Biscoffs.
Because everything I've found online is like the bigger the case, the smaller the packaging.
Yeah, they put them in little the airplane. So I wasn't even thinking about that, but I guess they do serve them on airplanes. But a few weeks ago, I was over at Walmart picking up some stuff for doing baking, and every time I go there, I go to the aisle and I buy all the Biscoff they have.
Yeah.
And I think they keep it in the back because they were like, someone's buying all the Biscoff. Let's put out a certain amount.
Sure.
And then we buy it, and then the next day they put out more for the regular customers.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so
they're on to you. They're like, we love the cheesecake.
No, it's early in the morning now. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I'm standing there. I got like brown sugar and a basket full of Biscoff.
Sure.
20 packs.
Sounds good.
And this lady standing behind me in line, and she's like, "What you doing with all those airplane cookies?" And I was like, I'm making cheesecake.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What kind of cheesecake is that? Where?" And I was like, "Trophy Pizza. That's right here." She's like, "I never heard of that." I was like, "Well, come over and check us out. We're right there." She's like, "Okay, maybe I will." So I'm back here making cheesecakes, and like lunch, it's like 11 o'clock. We just opened, and I hear this lady out here, and I look out, and she's looking for me, and sure enough, it's a woman from the line.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she orders like cheesecake, and I was like, "Give her a slice of pizza, hey, thanks for coming in,
Right.
So she came and she bought a slice of cheesecake. We gave her a slice of pizza, and she left. And I don't know, maybe it was like 20 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I hear her again. She never left the parking lot. She came back in and bought more cheesecake and some more pizza and left us a great review.
I always think about, so I worked for the airlines when I was in college, because my dream in life was, well, no, I wouldn't call this a dream, but I was like, any industry that screws you over, I should probably work for them once just to see what secrets I can learn. So like my first job, I worked for Avis Rental Cars. I was like, all right, I love traveling, right? So I was like, all right, let's figure out the rental car game. I worked for the airlines. I worked in cell phones. I was like trying to get everything where I was like, I know they're screwing you. How can I learn about it? So when I worked for the airlines, the best part about it is working commissary. This is me getting myself in trouble.
You're looking for
later.
Material.
Oh my God.
You didn't even know it.
Dude, no, I had no idea. And now it's like, well, it's like I always joke now where I was like, my last job at the airline was I was like clean team. So I was like removing the waste from bathrooms in this tank. It was disgusting, but it was the easiest job at the airport. And I was like, oh, I do that like once a week, and then I could just sit in the lobby. I mean, this was before smartphones, right? But I could just do nothing. It was great, because they weren't paying as well. But I remember working commissary and like stocking the planes, and then when they had leftover stuff, they were like, here, take this like crate of Biscoff cookies home. It's like some of the best, worst times of my life.
So
I
is
was
that
like,
what you're talking about? You got a stash?
I
of them
still,
back at the
I was
house?
like, I'm from 2007. They're still sealed, new and packaged. I got the Delta logo on.
Well, when you take them and you break them out and you break them down and you add a bunch of butter to them,
Dreams come
they'll
true.
bring it right back.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly reconstitute, a little rehydration. No, I was like, anytime with stuff like that, I always like to offer everybody. I'm like, I mean, we could probably even help Jungle with getting that
That'd
stuff
be
in if
awesome.
that's ever a thing. So
I would
seriously,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
25
least
It
I
has
do.
been a challenge.
I know that.
25-pound box
Yeah.
of just Biscoff crumbles.
Oh, I think we could probably.
That's what I want.
If that is available for purchase, I feel confident. It's one email tomorrow.
You know what I want?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Is Samson
we're gonna get a call from Mark. We got it.
I'm like,
and we're
listen,
gonna show up in the aisle and
I'll
it's
be
gonna be all gone.
Yeah. I'll be like, listen, I know better than that now. As soon as I find something, I'm like, put it in my office, deal with it later, and hopefully it doesn't disappear.
You call
Yeah.
him Jungle, though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I want to talk to Jungle.
I want to talk to the Jungle. What do you got for me? No, and we've got it's really fun because we've got all these different buyers that handle all these different things. So like, it is kind of that thing now where if I see something online or if I have the conversation, like, no shit, tomorrow there's an email going out to the head of international, like, whose name conveniently another Jim, who's not Jungle Jim. It's just I think
love
that's why
Ohio.
Jungle goes by Jungle. There's like fucking 30 gyms in the building at any time. I'm like, I don't know who I'm calling. But I feel like that's one of those things. I'm like, listen, do you know where we could get some fall off the truck style? No, I'm kidding. But like, bro, I feel.
Yeah, why are there so
confident
many
in this.
gyms?
And it's a good question.
Thanks, King James.
Yeah, right? It's where it all started. We were talking about this before. There's so many James in the area. I want to know what town has a lot of marks. I only know the ones I'm related to, really. And maybe like one or two others, but, they're not here, so I'm not counting them.
I like all the Marks that I've met, though.
That's good. Okay, well, I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, now. That's amazing. All right. We should probably actually mention the promo that this is all kind of around, right? Like, so what exactly, I probably should have led with that. But what are we doing? We're doing a thing. Is that next week you guys are doing the signature
grand
pies?
opening.
Yes. Talk to me through it. Talk me through
I
this.
mean,
Because this is the second location, right?
Shout out to Zach who's producing this.
Yes.
He came up with the idea right there. He came up with the idea because we've been open for a few
Zach.
months, to be
Yeah.
honest.
This is at Factory 52.
This is
Norwood,
Factory
right?
52 Norwood. We opened, late February, early March, and people are asking, "You've been open. Why are you doing a grand opening now?" As Zach said, because it hasn't been grand.
Right.
Like
It's a regular opening.
It was a regular opening. We're doing the grand
Hell
opening,
yeah.
right? And so we just wanted to involve some amazing people from Cincinnati community who are involved in food. Mark, you're doing a specialty pie for the grand opening.
I was so honored, honestly. I've been just smirking about it in my head the whole time. So thank you, guys.
James is going to do
it.
James is going to do a specialty pie for the grand opening. We're
Yep.
doing a customer submission or public submission.
That's right, because that's on Instagram right
on
now,
Instagram.
right? Okay.
And we're going to pick our three favorite and then review them, and people are going to vote on them.
Sweet.
We're going to carry that one day. And then we got a celebrity chef from Cincinnati doing one.
I'm very excited about that. Yeah, we love it. Well, I got to tell you, when I found out who these people were, I was just like, oh, I'm incredibly honored to even be on this list. Why am I here? You know what I mean? Like, it's very much, who let you in? So thank you. Truly, it means a lot.
Well, we appreciate you.
I had a
doing
lot of
it.
fun,
We
too.
Really
Super
do.
cool. I've never gotten to make a pizza before, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Thank you. I appreciate James. You walked me through it beautifully. It was a great experience. I think it turned out okay. I mean, the ovular one I made, the football.
That grandma was killer.
Yeah, I love a grandma. Well, not in my personal life, but, I mean, I guess I love my grandma, but, not in the weird way. No ricotta at this nursing home.
Say more.
I think I've said enough. So what is it, as I feel like we're probably getting pretty close to wrap-up time on this, what's the next thing for Trophy? We got 2 locations now. I mean, what's the next goal? What's the next landmark for you?
New York bagels and soft serve gelato.
Oh my God! Can I throw Italian ice in that lineup too? We cannot find that here.
I've talked to
We've
talked to Presto
yeah,
about
yeah.
getting I'm blanking, not Martinelli's. The Martinelli's is the apple
Apple
juice.
cider. Yeah.
What's the little yellow cups
yeah,
with the
yeah.
fluorescent pink?
I can't remember the name either.
Yeah. Now,
Oh,
and then the more you
Jesus.
described it, the more I was like, no, I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
All they have is cherry and lemon.
Okay.
With the little wood spoon.
Yeah, perfect.
Amazing. I want to get that in town. Maybe we can make our own. But
be
there's
fun.
just something about that brand and that cup.
It hits. Yeah. There is something about that.
And as it melts,
Oh,
as
yeah.
it gets warm, So good.
I went to I won't name this place, but I went to a place that was claiming they had Italian ice this weekend. And I really hated it. And I was like, it was my.
Just like shaved ice.
Yeah,
I don't know how they make it so.
The texture was slightly on point, but the flavors were off. It was just not a great experience overall.
They make it so dense. They ramp up that bricks and they just like nail the freezing process.
Exactly.
And it's like flakes of sugar ice.
I tried to make my own at home recently, and I sucked at it, but I should suck at it. I don't know what I'm doing, nor do I have a business selling it. I'm just a fat guy in his apartment.
You probably really enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah, right. I tried so hard, trust me. A lot of
we do have I think we are going to be rolling out a specialty cocktail to go program here.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Cool.
So yeah, we have our liquor license. We are doing beer and wine currently, but I think we're going to be rolling out some cool specialty cocktails that'll be available for dine-in and carry-out.
That's awesome. I really love the bagel idea, honestly, guys. I mean, you want a number one
I
customer.
don't know, man. I mean, where would you go? I mean, do you like bagels around town? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look, when I find a good bagel, it's always like an indie person who's just like, literally, there's a lady right now called Livia Joe, and I buy them out of the trunk of her car. And she's great. And she's probably the closest I found in the Midwest to something that reminds me of home, which that's what I'm looking for. But I feel like now that we've had all these conversations, I feel like I trust you guys the most.
That oven right there
Yeah.
would produce the best bagels.
I'm
telling you.
I'm thinking about it right now. Try not to sweat in front of you.
Yeah.
This is the man right here. All I have to do is egg him on.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. So what I'm hearing is I push you a little bit, and then occasionally keep reminding me.
Yeah, just
James,
keep
what's up
calling
with the
me,
bagels,
and I'll
dude?
keep talking to him.
That sounds good. One of the James at the table, please, guys, just give me the fucking bagels.
And the schmear? You want some schmear?
Oh my God, I'll probably homemade, baby. Let's
What am
go.
I, chopped liver?
Donating that to Locks of Love. Okay. I stole that from somebody. That's awesome.
I don't know if we could call it schmear here, though, because people would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, that was one. You know, what's funny is like
schmear. It's schmear.
The big question is, could we get away with not having a toaster in the place?
Yeah, I feel like that's like the real, right?
Kick him out.
Yeah.
You want it toasted?
You're like, out. You got to be like the soup Nazi. You got to take that energy sometimes. You're like, listen, this is not the proper way. We served it hot. It should be soft on the inside.
Problem
I'm
is,
sorry.
I like a good toasted bagel.
So do
with
I,
butter.
but I also like to make sure that I'm not upsetting the classics.
Yes.
I'm like, when I'm in your house, I will be respectful.
No toaster. If you want it toasted, you buy them whole. When you take them home and you do
whatever you want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not asking questions. Like,
what else would you do with a bagel at home?
Yeah, exactly. And people underestimate the power of just tossing it in the oven to reheat it that way. And I was like, listen, when you cut into that and it's steamy and fresh, again, there are applications where I've enjoyed a toasted bagel before. I'm not going to lie to anybody, but at the same time, it's the pineapple on pizza debate again. I was like, listen, this is really the proper way to do it. You know, I'll let it slide, but I'm not a bagel authority. You know, I don't know. We should find them next. Fight in the parking lot. I'm ready to go, dude.
I just want a soft Kaiser roll. Can you find me a soft Kaiser? Can you get soft Kaiser rolls into junglejims?
Honestly, you know what? I bet every so often I feel like I could maybe try to not force, maybe coerce would be a better way, but get a few more, because we have a big bakery and they bake a ton of shit in house. So I'm like, why wouldn't that
soft
be
Kaiser roll egg sandwich.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, oh God.
It just doesn't sound right, though. Like soft and Kaiser.
Because I'm always thinking of the hard wrap.
That's what I those go together.
Years ago, I went somewhere and it was a sandwich place. I don't remember what it was, but the guy was like, "Wait, he was also from Jersey." He's like, "You too?" And he goes, "Oh, do you want me to use like day old bread to get a little of that hard roll action?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, kind of I do." If I'd known that was an
it's
option.
Still soft deep in the
exactly
in the center,
on the inside, but on the outside it's like crumbly and
crumbly.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
This is not only cool to do this, but this is my first real full interview outside of the building. So this is a proof of concept. So
We're honored.
Oh, thank you. This is so much fun. I can't wait. I cannot wait for all of the other pizza places to be mad that I didn't do it there. So thank you, guys. That's why your trophy, the prize winner, I'm here for it. So it's been a pleasure,
and
guys.
thanks to Zach
for
making it happen.
Yeah, Zach, really huge
Turn
fan.
the
Thank you so
camera
much.
around.
Long-time fan. Always been a big Zach fan, so thank you. I'll say it right in the camera. Zach, we love you. We appreciate you. Yeah.
Oh, right on you.
And that's the show. Huge thanks to Zach at Trophy Pizza for getting this all put together for me. It looks amazing. You're amazing, Zach. Thanks so much for your help. All right, everyone, make sure you come in, grab some of these grab-and-go pizzas, and then when you've realized that you really want something hot and fresh, go try a favorite of the local favorite at Trophy Pizza. I'm pretty sure that's what we're naming it. Awesome. As always, thanks so much for tuning into the show. Thank you for your support. Follow us on social media. We've been making a lot of stuff over there on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. And in the meantime, you can catch me out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.